To order the Board of Zoning Appeals. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Call a roll, please.
Mike Curtis.
Here.
Amber Brown. Jerry Sartain.
Here.
Gary Farley.
Here.
Renee Curtis. Here. Patrick Hale.
Here.
Zane Cantrell.
Present.
We have a quorum.
You have the minutes of the last meeting. Are there any changes or additions to those minutes?
Move be approved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion that be approved. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Call a roll, please.
Mike Curtis.
Yes.
Amber Brown.
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes.
Gary Farley.
Yes.
Renee Curtis. Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes. For those of you who may be here for the first time, let me explain to you just a minute about our procedures. As you have something request before the Board of Zoning Appeals, we'll ask you to come forward to the podium here and give any additional information after a report from our staff. And after that, we'll open this for a public hearing. At that time, you may come forward to the podium, and you have 3 minutes to speak to the BZA members. So let's try to keep within that 3-minute allotted time. The first item we have is a request by Deborah Fox, who is requesting 2 parts to this. One is a variance relief setback of 3.1 and a accessory structure, and I understand that has already been built. What do you have on that?
Thank you. Application 2026-4 involves a property located at 5206 Hargis Road. It's a request for variance relief of 13.1 feet from the front yard setback requirement of 40 and relief from the maximum square footage for detached accessory structures involving a property located in the RM zone. This is a 2.95 acre parcel, and Ms. Hargis and a neighboring property owner had submitted a plat for review. They were acquiring this additional land area in the back. And during the plat review, we discovered that there was a structure that encroached into the required front yard. It measures about 26.9 feet from the front yard property line. And I checked with building codes, and a permit had not been obtained for that structure. I notified Ms. Hargis, or their surveyor, that we could not approve the plat until this encroachment was corrected or addressed by a variance. And the applicant came in and applied for a variance. Now, during review of preparing the presentation for the original meeting that Ms. Fox was scheduled to be on, it was discovered that there were additional structures that were shown on the plat. They do not encroach into any required yard. However, they were additions that were made without permits. And you can see there was an addition to the existing garage between 2016 and 2017, and a shed was added between 2019 and 2020. So that pushed this property over into like 4,626 square feet of detached accessory structure area. And the property itself is allowed up to 2319 square feet, and she exceeds it by 2307. So if the variances are granted, she would not need to modify the structures that are already there, and we would be able to move forward with recording the plat. Should the board decide to approve, we would recommend that, all of the structures obtain the required permits and be inspected by the Building Codes Department. Now, in considering the variance criteria, the property does have a easement that crosses the front of the property. Let's see. If you can see this area here, that's an entire easement. So it does present a hardship for the location of this detached accessory structure area. So this is a unique situation for this particular property. However, the variance hardship is not presented for the existing garage and shed. And there is a discrepancy. You'll measure the building footprint, but the existing garage has a second floor. And so we contacted the applicant. She gave us the square footage, and we added that to the variance. So we had to re-advertise with this additional variance because it involved more than the front yard setback. So we do find that the request meets the setback encroachment, meets the criteria for demonstrating that she has a hardship, and it doesn't, this is not the result of any kind of financial gain or anything. We do find that the request fails to meet the criteria for the square footage for the detached accessory structures. And we verify square footage at the time a building permit is applied for. And so typically, when we review a plat, if the plat is not creating an encroachment, it's the addition of the rear yard area, we probably wouldn't have discovered, we would have said, oh, that structure's there, no one's complained. And so when we dug a little deeper, we found that there were more things going on, and that we wanted the applicant to take care of all the issues before the plat could be recorded. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just
No, you're
wanted to let
good.
him know. So let me get clarification on something. So this is self-imposed, right?
The overhead easement is not self-created. The easement exists. However, the detached accessory structure square footage is self-imposed. You could disagree with staff saying that, everybody's subject to electrical easement. It's pretty wide, and it's along that front portion of the property. So it does limit them. Because the house is over 60 feet from the front property line, they would have been able to place the structure 40 foot off of the property. These are a lot of numbers, 40 feet off of the front property line. But that 40-foot point, you've got that overhead easement. So, they're not able to. So they placed it outside of that easement when they constructed the building. But it was never permitted.
Yeah.
I believe that the applicant indicated when they came in that they had hired a contractor who had said that they pulled a permit, and we, do hear that often.
It's okay. So also no permits. And also my question is, and I can't remember, but it seems like this here is a much larger request than we normally get. Did you say it was 23 feet?
No, she's asking for 13 feet from the front, setback of 40. So we're looking at a 26, she's providing 26 feet where she needs to provide 40. So it's a 13 and 13.1,
But-
however you
but
want to
then
say.
again,
Yes, there's a
23, 13, it's still, from my memory, this is larger than we normally get a request for a variance.
Normally, we'll get 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and it's a front yard.
And the reason I bring that up, I think this is, something happened, and I don't think we know the whole story. I just think this is a lot, a big request. We normally, I can see 2 or 3 feet, somebody made an accidental mistake. But 13 feet?
Mike?
This structure that's in front of the electrical easement, how many square feet is it?
Pardon?
How many square feet is this structure that's requested for the variance distance?
Went to the next report.
I don't know if we have that information, do we?
Oh, yes, I should.
Looks like it's about 900 square feet.
Okay. So even if we removed this structure, we would still have a problem with more accessory structure size than would be normally allowed for this size lot. I just wanted to make sure that was known. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do.
Yeah.
I've got one. I just want to make sure I understand how many structures we're looking at. So is it just the 2 sheds?
Okay, so we'll go back to the photo, and this is the structure that encroaches into the front yard. This is a structure that has been located on the property for quite some time. Then an addition between 2016 and 2017 was constructed, and there was not a permit issued. And then this shed was later added in 2020, circa, without a permit. And so those square footages, totaled 4,626 square feet of all structures.
How did this come to your attention?
We were reviewing a plat. So the applicant is acquiring land and it makes a logical extension of the rear yard because you see the sliver of land that's owned by this property owner here. They are her and her neighbor are acquiring the rear yard of this property just to eliminate that stray area that's owned by a neighboring property. And from what I understand, I had a phone call. It was part of an agreement with a previous property owner that, hey, I'll let you have that. You guys just take care of it, get it platted. And so they're trying to correct or legitimately add the property to their parcel by platting it. And that's how we became aware of the structures. So they kind of told them themselves.
Mr. Chairman, are we voting on,
Go ahead.
is it all or nothing, or do we vote on these independently?
No, I mean, you can approve part of the request. It's up to you if you want to approve the encroachment.
I just wanted to make sure I understood.
Yes, and then if, this is what happens. If you approve part of it, and you deny the square footage, she would need to remove some of the square footage that is on the property. So she might opt to remove some of the other, buildings and keep this structure, but that's up to you.
How many of the buildings have not been permitted, Tanya?
We couldn't find permits for any of them.
Any of them?
How many have not been permitted? Some of them don't need permitting, is that correct?
There's a difference between zoning compliance and needing a building permit. If you have a vertical structure on your property, we have to review for zoning compliance. But from what I understand from the building department, if it is under a certain square footage, a permit is not needed.
120 square feet without a permanent foundation. If it's less than.
Mr. Chairman.
Mike, go ahead.
Danielle, it looks like they're trying to add approximately 400 square feet to this lot. Does that change the maximum square footage size allowed?
I think that was taken into consideration.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Any other questions of the staff? We have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please. Yes, ma'am.
So I don't really know what I'm doing. The first building, the one that's the larger one, that's the one that we built in 2021 for our camper, is the only place that we could put it based on what our property was. We assumed that the builder, Max Steel, got the permit. The carport that's in front of the garage We also bought it for them, and they put that in. The shed was a pre-assembled one. I wasn't aware that a permit was required to bring one in, and I certainly didn't know that there was a certain number of square feet that we could have on our property. So I am willing to go backwards and fix anything and everything that I can, and I apologize for not being more aware of what the laws were.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
How many contractors did you use for these, to build these?
There was one that we bought, it's a metal building that got put up. We bought that and the carport from the same one, and we bought the shed that we put onto the property from that same place.
So all of them were under one general
It
contractor?
was Stones River Trailers, and then the big building Max Steel put it up, but it's associated with, we bought it from Stones River Trailers.
So those contractors should have known, they know what the rules are.
Yeah, I thought they did.
Yeah. I think if I was you, I'd be talking to a general contractor.
Yes, sir.
I do have a question for you, and it's more of a clarity. Your neighbors, you're working with them through this process, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then they are okay with what you have on your property now?
Yes, ma'am.
With no changes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
In fact, one of my neighbors is with me.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am. You may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion on it. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm the neighbor.
You were kind of slow.
I'm the neighbor, and didn't know, I would have thought their contractor would have took care of them. And it infuriates me that they didn't do that. We had a little old deck put on our front yard, and that poor old contractor, I mean, they had the people out there for every hole that was dug. So I was quite surprised that the contractor did not. But as far as us and the people behind, we have no problem at all whatsoever. I hate that it came to this for them. I hate the contractor didn't take care of them like ours took care of us. But yeah, none of the neighbors have any problem.
Which
So,
house is yours?
the right sider on the left with the white Ford truck. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
I got a question.
sorry.
The road you live on, could you describe what your road is like, please?
Hargis Road is a dead-end road, and we're out in the country, and we didn't even know that being out in the county that you had to have all this. You know, we had a garage built, and our contractor, the concrete people that came out, everybody that came out, everything had to be, you know, permitted, and people came out. But we were out in the country, we didn't know that you have to have all that. So we depend on these people to take care of us, and obviously they didn't take care of her.
And I respect that, your comment, but as a homeowner, I would do my due diligence to make sure that contractor does what they're supposed to do as well.
But again, you have to look, we're not in the city, we're in the county. We thought it was a different standard. I mean, and unless you're into that business, how would we know? I mean, you're out in the county. We don't have subdivision. We don't have anything to tell us that we can and cannot have cows, chickens, and pigs. But how would we know this?
Thank you, ma'am. You've made your point.
Thank you.
We still have a public hearing now. Anyone else? Speak up now. Close the public hearing. Have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we approve one or both of the requests, however y'all want to do it.
The setback?
That'll be fine, yes, the setback.
Okay.
And as a condition is, I would ask that she do the building permits and have them inspected.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second that. I'll second.
Got a second. Call the roll, please.
Mike Curtis,
Yes.
Amber Brown,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Gary Farley,
No.
Renee Curtis. Yes. Patrick Hale,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes. The next item we have is a request by Lascassas Baptist Church.
Hi, Mr. Cantrell.
Oh, you want to go?
We need to act on the second variance
Yeah.
request. Okay.
But you wanted to cut that out, is that right? Did you want to make another motion on that?
No, it was fine. It was just whatever was proper. But I would make a motion for the other side to be approved as well. It was for me.
Okay, so that wasn't very clear. So your motion was to approve both the setback variance and the detached accessory structure area variance based upon the applicant, conditioned upon the applicant getting the permits? That's right. Okay.
So I think it
So did everyone else understand that?
covered all of it.
Okay, sorry.
Okay? Do you agree? Okay. The next item is a request by Lascassas Baptist Church, who is requesting a variance relief for a illumination sign. And what do you have on that, please?
Thank you. Application 2026-7 involves a property located at 4750 East Jefferson Pike. It's a request for variance relief to allow an internally illuminated sign with more than 25% of automatic changeable copy area. This is located in the rural center zone. And Lascassas Baptist Church came in and they wanted to replace their existing sign. As you can see, this is the existing sign in the photo here. And they wanted to change the changeable copy area to an electronic message board. Our requirement is that they are limited to 25% of the allowable square footage of the sign. And the sign itself measures 40 square feet, and that would indicate that they would have 10 square feet of changeable copy area. They want to have 24 square feet of changeable copy area, and that will consist of 60% of the total sign. That exceeds that 25%. So this is the request for a variance. They're not wanting to go any higher. It's the same sign height, placement, and had they just, if everything complied, they wouldn't have to come before you. If they weren't, if they were replacing the face to the sign, it's not the structure that we're concerned about, it's the changeable copy area. And the sign height is higher than what we do allow. However, they got a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals in 2004 for the height. We did not receive any phone calls regarding this, and we found that the request met the criteria for variance. And that concludes our
Do
presentation.
you have any questions of our staff?
I've got one for Daniel. I'm just curious if we have approved previously at this percentage.
It's been random, but yes, we have approved similar size
Okay,
variance.
and then on top of that too, does this scroll, it might be a question I need to ask the applicant,
Right.
but will it scroll? If you're-
I believe the applicant
Okay.
would be able to answer that better.
And then my third question, is this on a curve? And then I think that'll
it's-
take care of.
If you can see, this
Okay.
is 96, and this is East Jefferson Pike, and then it splits off into Barlow Lane. So it's right at the corner of the property, at the corner of the property. So.
Thank you.
Mike?
Danielle, a little bit of history on the 25% allowed changeable sign in the zoning resolution. Do you recall any reasoning as to why that number was set that way? Or is this something that may need to be looked at going forward in the future?
We can, I mean, if that's something that the board feels is necessary. We are seeing a lot of churches moving to that electronic message board, type of signage. I think we revised the regulations in 2009, and we probably modeled it after other jurisdictions.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do we have anyone from the Baptist Church representing this request? If you'll come around, please. We want to get you all illuminated out there so they can see you.
I appreciate that. I'm Kenneth Summy. I'm the pastor of Lascassas Baptist Church. I appreciate the opportunity to be before you today. To answer your question, yes, there will be scrolling We intend to have both letters and some graphics, but nothing that's distracting to the corner there. Obviously, there are thousands of people who drive by our church every day on that corner. And there is an intersection there as East Jefferson comes into Lascassas Pike. So we're cognizant of that we would not have anything overly distracting on that. Basically, what we're asking is just to replace the current amount of square footage we have for changeable letter, just an electronic version of that.
Mike, go ahead.
Yeah. What was the driving action behind you all to choose to have us 24 square feet versus the 10 square feet allowed?
Again, it's just to replace, if you look at the current sign and the changeable letter copy, that's the current dimensions there. It's a 5-foot sign, and currently 3 foot of that is changeable letter, and so we want that 3 foot to be LED.
Okay, so you were trying to be consistent with
Exactly.
what you had
Yes,
before,
sir.
but something that is electronic and changeable and
exactly.
more efficient for your
Yes.
staff and whatnot.
Other than having to get out there on a ladder and change it ourselves, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I might add, if it was a manual changing copy area, they would be allowed up to 50% of the sign area, so.
Any other question? Thank you. You may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Now's the time to step forward. Close the public hearing. Have a motion on this,
I'll move
please.
for approval.
Have a
Second.
motion that be approved. We have a
Second.
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 Have a second. Call a roll, please.
Mike Curtis,
Yes.
Amber Brown.
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes.
Gary Farley.
Yes.
Renee Curtis.
Yes.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes, is approved. Next item is a request by Melanie Ching, who is requesting a special exemption for an outdoor event called the Music City Youth Fest. What do you have on that? I might want to go to that fest.
Right, that's probably our speed. Application 2026-08 involves a property located at 2752 Thompson Road. It's a request for temporary special exception approval for an outdoor event involving the Music City Youth Fest for a property located in the RM zone. And the applicant is proposing to hold a 3-day indoor music event to be held June 11th through 13th of this year within an existing barn structure that's on the property. The event will not be open to the general public and will be limited to approximately 100 ticketed attendees with 10 volunteers or staff working the event. Of course, the applicant includes in their application that it would be subject to whatever occupancy limits that the building official allows. The activities will include indoor workshops, musical performances with minimum amplified sound, and a small vending area consisting of approximately 1 to 3 vendors. No alcohol will be served at the event. All music and activities will occur indoors and will conclude at or before 10 p.m. each night with no outdoor music, exterior activities, or bright lighting proposed. The event is proposed to operate on Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Friday from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. All parking will be accommodated on site via this existing driveway with event staff and volunteers managing traffic and parking. And so you'll see this is the property in question. The applicant has kind of shown a circulation plan for the site where people would be parking. I did speak to the applicant 2 days ago, and she had proposed some RV and camping dry setups here. She has asked to eliminate that from her request. The applicant has gone out and talked to her neighbors. We did receive many phone calls regarding this event, fears that it might, be too noisy, traffic. These are concerns that we normally hear with this type of use, but it's temporary. It's only 3 days. The applicant's hopes are that if it is successful and they operate, if they get approved and they operate within the conditions that she would like to do this on an annual basis. So staff reviewed it against the criteria. There are some conditions that we would like to recommend if the board chooses to approve this request. And the conditions are approval shall be limited to a one-time 3-day event with any future events requiring separate review and approval, that the event shall be subject to a minimum life safety and welfare inspection by the county building and fire officials prior to commencement, that attendance shall not exceed the maximum occupancy established by county staff. All event operations shall comply with the approved site plan, parking layout, and operational details presented to the board, and failure to obtain required building approval shall void the temporary use approval. And I believe that the applicant has been working with the building official regarding any kind of changes to the barn structure. Did you want to add anything?
She did. The property owner came in and got a building permit to modify the structure just a little bit to make the existing, there already was 2 existing bathrooms in the structure that she made code compliant and ADA compliant also. We did have her get a structural engineer to assess the building since it was going to be an assembly use. They were going to gather people in there. We will look at means of egress, lighting, emergency egress lighting, sanitary, and accessibility. We will also look at the structure when she's got it completely set up for her event. We will look at the open space and we'll determine the occupant load, and we will post a max occupancy sign in the structure. I don't anticipate it being more than 100. In fact, I anticipate reducing the area. She's got a stage, a couple of bathrooms, some tables and chairs that she's setting up for vendors. With the available space left, it looks like it's going to be more like 60 or 70 people that will be able to fit into the structure at any given time.
Do we have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please. Come to the podium there. Just give us any additional information you want to share with that.
Aloha, I'm Melanie Ching, and this is my event. And I just wanted to share that the whole purpose of this event is to spread aloha with the ukulele and share about the Hawaiian culture. And the crowd that generally comes to ukulele festivals nationwide are pretty much between mid-40s to mid-70s. They're not very rowdy or raucous, and the music is contained in the barn with minimal amplification, so it really shouldn't even reach my neighbors. I went door to door to each house on Pinnacle that borders my property, and after explaining that I took off camping and there's nobody coming near their property, they all seem to be fine with that. So again, I just want to share the aloha spirit. It's like I liken it to Southern hospitality, and just want to bring a fun event to the community. I'm going to be dancing hula and et cetera. We may have a special guest performance from somebody from Hawaii. And so if you have any other questions.
I do. I have a couple. So this will be your first year hosting this event? Did I understand
I've hosted
that?
it twice before.
Okay.
Once at the factory in Franklin and once at the Hideaway Farm, Johnny Cash's former farm in Bonacqua, Hideaway Farm, and we had last year about 60 to 70.
Okay, and do you own this property?
I do own this property.
Okay. So the other 2 questions I do have is what safety measures are you going to have in place for your neighbors as well, and then the people that will be attending the event?
Safety measures?
Yes, like will you have patrol there or patrol?
Oh.
Yeah, to ensure people's safety.
Okay, I didn't know if I needed to have that,
Okay.
but if I do need to have that, I'll certainly hire a patrol officer. My core team is basically, and volunteers will be directing the traffic. I'm purchasing parking stakes to clearly delineate parking. The parking closest to the driveway in the barn will be set for ADA. I anticipate the parking just to be in that front section to the front of the property and a little bit behind the barn. So it's not gonna, for 50, 60 people, that it's not going to be that many cars. They're not going to park anywhere near the back of my property or anywhere near the Pinnacle Hills properties.
So it's more of a smaller
more
event.
small.
Okay, I heard 100 plus, and
Yeah,
that
no,
kind of gets my
yeah.
wheels turning. And you already talked about the traffic, which was the other piece I was going to ask, is just how you're going to flow that traffic in and out. But you said your volunteers will be taking care of that?
That's
Is
right.
that what I
I'll
understood?
have volunteers
Okay.
manned at the driveway, parking stakes, and things to direct, and people to direct at each spot.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, what is your plan if it rains for your
Well,
parking? Because
If it rains, I mean, everything can be in the barn.
yeah, I'm talking about for parking though.
Oh, well, I think it's still okay to park on the grass because it's all flat grass.
Okay, because if it rains and it gets muddy out there, you're going to have a big mess.
Yeah, my whole property is grass, and there doesn't seem to be very many muddy spots right now.
Okay, I just want to make sure you considered that.
Thank you so much.
Are you going to make plenty of egg rolls? Any further questions? Didn't answer that. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you.
We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. If you'll come around, please. Just give us your name and any information.
Hi, Rich Strickland, 2751 Thompson Road. Right across the street or road from this piece of property. It'd be directly across, right that one right there she's pointing at. That's my piece of property. I have no objections with this. I think it'd be a fun event, something different for our community, maybe something that would get some of the people who live on this road together, since there's people coming to this area by the thousands, it seems. And every time you look around, there's another development coming there. And it'd be nice to have something where we can all get together. And the bottom line is, and I've spoken with my neighbors to each side, and neither one of them has voiced any objection to it either. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Gary Petty. I live on one of the properties that butt right up against this. We had a lot of concerns. I mean, I can't speak for everybody there, but just neighbors talking about it because of the camping. We can imagine that field being full of people and it's muddy, or they're having fires, or the noise. I mean, that was really a concern. And the only water's in the house. So what happens if there's a problem out there? What do you do with bathrooms if there's all these people out there camping? When she told us that she was going to change and not have camping, that did change some of what was happening. We looked at it. If she has the proper controls and everything's organized properly, it could be a good event. But those were the concerns many of us had, and many of us were dead set against it. And when she was willing to say, okay, we're not going to put campers out there, that we stood back a little bit on it. So I just wanted to pass that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come forward, please. Commissioner, it's good to have you with us.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and BCA Commission. In 12 years that I've been a commissioner, I never thought I'd be up here speaking about ukuleles. I've been here on dancing horses. I've been here on wedding venues. I've been here on a little bit of everything. But today we had a good talking about what she's wanting to do out there. I have to tell you, I haven't had any phone calls or any complaints about this. I usually do when something like this comes forward. I hear from everyone in the community. This one, I haven't. and I asked her several different questions. I even asked her what music they were going to be playing, because I have been to Hawaii. I do like the music and things of that type. I don't know if they're going to bring Don Ho back and let him do something. I don't know. But it is something quite unique that we have never had within this community or anything like it. And I sort of like what the gentleman said. This may bring a different clientele that we have never had, an opportunity for people to see something that we've never seen before. But she does seem like she has it fairly well put together, and I have never dealt with anyone that's had an event like this that wants to do it right. She's tried about 3 or 4 times to contact me, and finally I did get to her and talk to her. So I just wanted to tell you we haven't had any complaints. We haven't had anybody trying to stop this venue, and you did see the map up here and how many homes are near this. So she's promised me on Saturday night for me to come by and actually see what's going on, and I promise you I will be doing that too, just to see how it is working within the community. So thank you for this opportunity.
So I'm assuming you're for it?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. Always good to hear from the commissioner out in the district. But I'd also point out, we look at the conditions. If you meet the conditions, then we approve it. If you don't meet the conditions, then we don't. It's that simple. And this one seems to meet the conditions that I've looked at, and I assume with our staff that that is correct. Does anyone else want to speak on this? Close the public hearing, entertain a motion on it.
Mr. Chairman, since this is a one-day event, it's a very unique type event, and it appears that the community is
3-day.
a 3-day event. Yeah, I mean a one-time event that's 3 days in length, 33 hours total. And the staff comments are more than sufficient in making sure that all of the requirements are kept. And if there's something that's untowed that happens, that is a problem, I'm sure the neighbors will make sure we know if they try to do this more than just this one time. And so as such, I move we approve.
Have a motion to be approved.
Second.
Have a second. Call the roll, please.
Mike Curtis,
Yes.
Amber Brown,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Gary Farley,
Yes.
Renee Curtis. Yes. Patrick Hale,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes. The next item is a request by Jeffrey Turner, who is requesting a temporary special exemption approval for a property. I believe this is outside sales. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What do you have on that, please?
Thank you. Application BZA 2026-9 involves a property located at 3147 Franklin Road. It's a request for temporary special exception approval allowing the outdoor sale of food upon the property located in the office professional zoning district. And this is the lot in question. It's quite shallow. It's not really suitable for any kind of development. And the applicant owns this property and would like to be able to place food trucks on this property. The food trucks would not be continuously located on the property. However, when they would be in operation, he anticipated that would be between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. The applicant actually owns adjacent properties here. Originally, this served as overflow parking for an adjacent business. That business no longer needs the overflow parking. It's a different tenant, and so he came in to discuss with staff about the possibility of placing food trucks on the property. He's not proposing any new entrances. There is an entrance off of Franklin Heights Road. We did not get any phone calls regarding this request, and this is a temporary special exception, so if he were to operate the food sales, and this is different than the one-time special event where he would have to come back every 6 months to renew it, but it could be done administratively, not like a special event that we considered before. So this would be continuously operated as a site that food trucks could locate on the property. We found that it met the conditions for approval, and that concludes our presentation.
Do we have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please. Going to cook it up out there, huh?
Good evening. My name is Jeff Turner, and I'm the applicant and the property owner. Yes, ma'am.
I live very close there. What kind of food trucks are you going to have over there?
We have done a little pilot program here. It's been on and off. We've had the cookie lady. I've heard it's good. Tacos, barbecue. It's been very.
Across the street, there's a couple. That area, I'm starting to see a lot more food trucks, and I know exactly where this is. So I just was curious if there was going to be some diversity there with the food options. But thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Do you plan on accessing this location from both sides on the east and west, considering you own the property to the west?
Yes, sir. We actually have an entrance on the west side that drops off into that parking area, to that access to 3167. So it comes in off Franklin Heights, and they could go out either way. It's proved to be very efficient and not a big backlog.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that was stated in the meeting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Gary?
I don't have a question for Mr. Turner. I got a statement. How this came about, this used to be in my county commissioner district, and Mr. Turner and I have worked together on other businesses there that he's done when I was commissioner. And what happened was on this corner, there was a house that had to be removed due to Franklin Road being widened. As wide a lot as the way it is. And
Yeah, and Gary, I almost bought that house when it was built.
yeah. And I have to say this, that anything that I've asked him to do when I was before on the other ones, he's done everything, and I wholeheartedly support him.
Thank you. May be seated.
I have a question for you, real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
So I see how close the line is to the neighboring property. So are these trucks going to be ran off of generators, or are you going to put in electrical stubs so that they can hook up to those?
We've been in touch with Middle Tennessee. If this gets approved, we have that plan to install a camper type plug. So, and there's also a water tap for hand washing that will be accessed at that point.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Tim Peeney lives in that house. We're really good neighbors, and I think he gets occasionally a little leftover. Sir? I think he's been known to get some cookies. He's a really nice guy. Yeah, he's been a good neighbor, good. We've been friendly for a long time. So, yes, sir.
That answer
That's
your
my only
question?
concern is just the amount of noise that might come.
Yes, sir. We've Middle Tennessee's already laid out Middle Tennessee Electric where they want it's like a service type meter, and we've had the drawings, reviewed all those. We have electrical group. I just know the guy's name. Jason.
Do you have a close-up of this area?
Yeah. So we have the whole proposal, bids, and everything to install that.
So you'd be fine if it was contingent on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good.
There it is.
Thank you.
We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. You'll come forward at this time. Public hearing. Close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the request with staff's comments.
Okay, have a motion to be approved.
Second.
Have a second. Call a roll, please.
Mike Curtis.
Yes.
Amber Brown.
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes.
Gary Farley.
Yes.
Renee Curtis.
Yes.
Patrick Hale.
No.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes. The next item we have is a request by Joan and Richard Reeves, who is requesting a temporary special exemption approval for a burrow pit. I think we're all very well aware of the pits that's been dug out there. I think you're ready to give a report to us tonight. So we have several of our staff members here to do that.
Okay. Thank you. I'll give a brief description of the case and then hand it over to Mike, our county engineer. Application BZA 2026-11 involves a property located in the vicinity of 950 East Jefferson Pike. It's a request for temporary special exception approval for a burrow pit with relief from the setback and area requirements for burrow pits in the RM zone. And this request, unlike previous requests, only involves these two properties here. This remaining portion that was part of earlier applications is no longer part of this request. So we're kind of doing like a reset based on the acreage that we have today, and they are wanting to continue excavation activities on site as they have done over the course of the last decade, and the reclamation of the site, and they are asking for the same variances, though those numbers are changing because we have a reduction in acreage. So in total, the property's 87.6 acres, and 12 acres or 13.8% are proposed for the current excavation under this application. So that's the remaining amount that they want to excavate from this site. Overall, though, other portions of this property have been excavated under previous applications. So in total, it's 58% of these two properties will have been excavated for clay. And the applicant is just seeking to renew this, and we have proposed some conditions that we'll go over, and I'll hand it over to Mike to talk about the progress.
All right, thank you, Danielle. So the property in question is this side here. Like Danielle said, it used to involve both halves or either side of this subdivision in the middle called Riverwalk, and they have been working with us to reclaim old areas and also work on the new areas. And I've got some kind of recent photos. This is the aerial imagery from 2025, and if you recall, they were excavating this area along Jefferson Pike. Jefferson Pike is this up here, and then also this area here, and then they had a small area kind of south of the other two areas. So what they would do is they would excavate the material here and then bring it over to the Republic's property and either store it here at on the, I guess, the east side of Landfill Road, and then take it over to the west side of Landfill Road where the Republic landfill is located. So they were crossing back and forth, and one of their selling points was they were not getting on Jefferson Pike. But a little history, this area is the county's transfer station, brand new transfer station we put in an operation, and the highway department had to improve Landfill Road from Jefferson Pike all the way down to the project area. So they reconstructed, essentially spent, I think it was around $1 million on reconstructing Landfill Road to make it wide enough for two-lane truck traffic and make it strong enough to handle truck traffic. And then soon after we finished reconstructing Landfill Road and finishing the transfer station, you can see this yellow, the city of Murfreesboro annexed it into their jurisdiction. So all this yellow area, the Republic property, is within the city limits. So they are taking the material from these areas, well, they were taking the area from these areas and then bringing it through their property, crossing Landfill Road to the landfill. And if you followed what Danielle was saying, they are wanting to loop in this Rio Barro property that was previously worked on and never reclaimed. And you can see it's, not in good shape. And I will show you the other areas that they've been working on. Let's see. So this is aerial imagery from August of last year. And you can see that they have worked on some of this area that we had them had previous concerns about. And then this is the area, the active areas, and then the roads through here are their haul routes back to the other areas. So, and I've got a little drone footage if you want to look at that. The property in question.
When is this from?
This is from, let's see, I think it was the same time in August. So you can see it's starting to get a little bit better. It's still has some bare spots and pockets of water that won't drain out. And this is the limits of Riverwalk, where you can see they left some trees along the perimeter of it.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Correct. I didn't hear all what you had said. But that's the other part of this that's not being proposed tonight, that has not been completed.
Yes, sir. The Rio Barro property, and it's kind of hanging up on me, so I'll close this down. It's a big file. This area here is the Rio Barro, and I'll show you. This lot here, a little history lesson, this was actually the step system for the Riverwalk subdivision. So it was pretty far away, and they had some issues with, piping the treated wastewater over here and then back and forth. So they moved the step area to the south of Riverwalk here, excuse me, and then sold this property to Mr. Reeves and Mr. Reed, Tom Reed, and they excavated some of it out, and I'll show you another thing. Let's see. So this is some drone imagery that our GIS department did recently. I believe this was just a couple days ago, March 6th. And I'm going to try to drive. Let's see if I can find my cursor.
Mike, is this what we're considering?
Yes, the Rio Barro, and they want to take this area here, I believe, this area here where their haul road is, and I think they were going to try to get a little area in this corner here. But they had been bringing material in. You could see they started with the topsoil here, and then we got the application where they wanted to bring in the Rio Barro property with this extension that they're asking for. So we had them kind of hold up and say, hey, instead of finishing this area, let's let the BZA talk about this area, and then we'll continue on. But we're still holding the surety on what's active or was active recently.
And I want to make sure I'm following this correctly. Did you say that area was what was supposed to be reclaimed? Did I understand that, or is there a different area that's supposed to be reclaimed? Because I want to make sure what has been committed to has been done.
Well, this, and in the previous application, and I might need to go back with property lines, the previous application did not include the Rio Barro property. It was a earlier extraction permit, and it was never reclaimed. It just was dug out and never fixed back to the way it should have. We had some earlier areas. This area here is one of the areas that we had them work on. There was some slopes with some reels, gullies and reels that had formed, and we had them rework these areas and do some hydro seeding on those. And then, this area as well. Whoops, too far. We had them work on. So they started on this area here, and we told them, well, if you're going to work, try to excavate this material out and then get the rest of this Rio Barro area. We need to talk about increasing the surety to reclaim this area, the Rio Barro area, including the areas outside of that.
So the previous request that has not been completed yet.
Right, yes, sir. Actually, we stopped them from doing that when
Right.
they brought in the other
Right.
application.
And so, but then there's a request wanting to do an additional area.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So if you recall, they were limited to 5 acres at a time, and I think this one got a little overzealous, and because this parcel is like 9.11 acres, something like that, and they went a little beyond the 5 acres, actually a lot beyond the 5 acres, but it was never reclaimed. We didn't have a surety on it, and so it just sat the way it was. But any new work that is done in the Rio Barro, we need a new surety. We need this area reclaimed after it's finished before we surrender that surety.
Can you show us some of the early properties that supposedly has been reclaimed and what it looks like now?
Right. So on the other side, you had an area here that was a borrow pit area, and you can see it's holding water. And it does have vegetation growing on it. Nature's starting to reclaim it. And oddly enough, the people that bought this are bringing spoil clay material back to this property to fill in this excavation area. So they bought this and want to bring material back in here. So we're reviewing a mass grading plan for this area to bring clay material back into it, which is odd to me that they borrowed it and now they're bringing it back. Another entity is bringing it back.
And looking at the history of this, from the very beginning, we were told that after they got through moving the clay out of that area, it would be reclaimed. How many of these areas do we have that have not been reclaimed? Do you know that?
I don't have an acreage, but you can see with the green, we do have some areas here. Excuse me, a little pollen's getting me. Green areas here, and then this area here's, this whole area was excavated a piecemeal at a time. This one area in the south, I think our stormwater inspector, John Cortez, has talked to him and said, hey, this is such a small area, you don't really need to tear that up and then have to reclaim it. So I don't know if they want to include that in this application or not, or move ahead with it. But this whole area we've had them work on, and some steep slopes, like you said, over here. It's just slowly coming back, but we still want them to continue to work on these, these areas that have bare soils, and then also work on these areas that are for the new application.
Are you happy with the reclamation work that's been done, or do they have work to do before we start doing more?
They have needs to, it's not perfect. It's not what it was before. It was a working farm before this, and I don't know if it'll ever go back to that, but we had them spread topsoil and in places, and hydro seed, it's where they spray the seed and the mixture to help the slopes stay in place while the vegetation starts to grow. So they have been working on it. It still needs a lot of work, but now we have a surety in place for the last application, and then, like I said, we want to reclaim this area as well to get it repaired.
Mike, a while ago, I think Danielle said something that's kind of stuck in my head. I need a question answered. The transfer station road, I don't know what the name is.
Landfill Road.
No, I'm talking about that goes to the transfer station that the city has annexed.
Yes, sir.
Since the last request. And part of the approval before was that they don't get out on Jefferson Pike with trucks.
That was every application. That was their selling point, that they would, the way it was set up originally, they would bring the material here and store it, and then Republic would come and get it. Well, now I believe Republic is running the excavation here as well, and then bringing it over to their site.
Yeah, so my question on that is, in the proposal that they presented, is there a plan or is there an approval for the trucks to be utilized on a city road, since it's a city road now?
Right. Typically what we require in the county is that a surety is posted, that if you tear up our road, we're going to collect that surety. You're going to fix the road, or we're going to collect on that surety for that road. I don't believe they've talked to the city yet. I could be wrong, but I don't believe they've talked to the city about posting a surety.
I have a question for you. Some of the terminology, natural reclamation versus reclamation. What's the difference in those two?
Well, I didn't write this, but I would say natural reclamation is probably where nature slowly takes it back over time.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say, but natural reclamation is happening in the areas that were abandoned and nothing was done, and
Yes.
the agreement was that things were going to be done.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And from the last meeting, one of the things that stuck out in regards to topsoil was that there was topsoil on the site to be able to do the reclamation, but then there was some conflicting information about there actually not being any topsoil remaining on the property for the reclamation process.
Right. And then John Cortez might be able to speak to that better than I can. He goes out to this site quite often. He's our inspector, or boots on the ground to make sure it's done correctly. But John, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so anything that I saw out there that was set aside for topsoil has been used, and it wasn't enough to cover adequately over the areas that were excavated. There's still some bare spots on there, and one of the things that I suggested was that the remaining topsoil on there be in an area where I can see it as well, so that it can be used. But I can tell you right now that topsoil that's there and set aside won't be enough to cover everything, and that's why also we asked for the adjustment on the surety, so that if anything happens post-construction, that we have something in place that will hopefully address those items and come back and try to cover as much of that in reclamation. Now, there's, in some areas, you can't, to adequately apply a 4 to 6 inch cover for grass to grow may be very difficult because there's not enough material there to work with. So in some areas you can see where it's taken up quite a bit of green vegetation coming back up. Those are the areas it took, and some of the areas it just didn't take. So in those areas, but I can just tell you this, that the many times that I've walked it, nature has taken it back, and so much that there is adequate, well, I say adequate, but there is evidence of wildlife out there going through that land. Even there's some biology in those ponds. So, to what extent, depending on your approval, one thing that we did have on there is that north side, that the agreement was to establish slopes at 3 to 1. And that topsoil on the north side right there, when they peeled it back, they brought it back in and covered that slope. It wasn't even enough to get close to a 3 to 1 slope. They had to bring extra material to come in, and for them to put a 3 to 1 slope in there would carry that slope almost halfway into that excavated area. So we're just trying to find a happy medium there so they can give them some workspace. But upon approval, should you do that, I've asked them to clear the topsoil, set it off to the side, take whatever's there, that they begin and put cover back on that slope, and then seed and straw it so that when they, so that we can get grass grown before the summer comes and dries everything up, and then there's dust problem there. So, so that's why you see some of that change in there. You can see we had a before and after aerial picture of that area, and you can see the tracking coming in from what they brought in to fill that. And it's a area probably about a 5 foot from the top of the wedge to the grade, and it was probably about 12, 13 feet long and are wide and about 200 feet long. And so they've done that, and they have it ready to put a cover on it, but we didn't, because there's, depending on this approval, then they would have to go back and then start covering that area. So the only big issue then is looking back at the Rio Barro area and how do we work and try to reclaim that? Well, with the adjustment of that surety should help to, to go back and address that issue and try to cover as much of it as we can.
The biology that you see in the ponds, can you give a little bit more of a description to that? Because what I'm hearing in the 30 emails that I received was it's primarily mosquitoes that are coming in. But I don't know, if you've had your eyes on it, you're unique.
The last time I went out there, late last summer, we saw deer out there. In fact, there was a deer that was in a pond probably up to almost its chest. And so there's evidence. There's raccoon tracks, possum tracks. We've seen turtles, frogs, even some fish in the ponds. I don't know what, I don't know if they last through the winter or not, but every summer there's something there.
Well, some of this can be very complicated, I understand that, but I remember very specifically a simple procedure that we would follow in this. When you would move back the topsoil, get the clay, move the clay out, before we moved to another area, that had to be reclaimed before we moved anywhere else. And that is simple as I can put it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, yeah, that was the understanding, and like I said, we weren't happy with the previous reclamations, so that's why we made them fix these earlier areas and put money aside to make sure that we would have a surety to reclaim these areas if they didn't do the work. So since they're increasing their area of disturbance, and we want them to work on fixing this Rio Barro area in the center here. So you can see the shadows of the steep areas that I assume that's what they're after, is these clay areas here.
Is there anything that, regardless if they get another shovel of dirt out of there, that keeps them from reclaiming what's already been done like they promised?
We have the surety in place, and we will, if they do not fix it, we will, or hire somebody to fix it.
Mr. Chairman, Zane, I've got a whole list of questions here, of which about half have been answered so far, but I've got a few more to ask. Just a little bit of history, the 2024-011 approval date was June 12th of 2024. And in those requirements, we covered the reclamation schedule and why it is where it is today, and I think that's a sufficient explanation from staff. But there is also an item H, within 9 months after completion of mineral extraction or after termination of the extraction excavation permit, all equipment, vehicles, machinery, materials, and debris shall be removed from the subject property. Imagery from last week shows heavy equipment still on the property. The question I have of the staff is, if you were to grade the reclamation of this property on a grade of A to F, where F is failing, A is like the best reclamation you've ever seen, what would you grade it as?
You want to take that, John?
Yeah, all right. So this is kind of difficult because I'm not required to give it a grade. I'm just required to say if it's in compliance or if it's not in compliance. If it's not in compliance, then what's the violation? And so when they're making an effort to apply topsoil to areas, to apply hydroseed to areas, that's in compliance. They're complying with what we're asking them. I'm not asking them to, they're supposed to do their best, obviously. And so some of the areas will cooperate, some don't, just because of the nature of where they're excavating and the nature of the ground, the surface able to take what is being applied. So if they're making an effort, I can't go in there with a violation and say, you guys are not in compliance. If I see hydroseed, when I ask them to put hydroseed or seed and straw, and if it's then it's in compliance. They can't go in there and make the site back to what it was because of all the dirt that's been taken out of it.
So to follow up on that, so you have had sufficient compliance from them when you've asked for things to be done?
Every time I've asked, they've done what they're supposed to do. And I've come back and recorded those pictures and said, well, here's the seed and straw, here's the cover. And so I can't say that they weren't in compliance, so.
Well, there have been, all right, so another question. There have been claims that this is now a moonscape out there. Would you say that's a valid feeling, or is it just some lack of understanding of what reclamation is?
It may be both. Because not understanding the way when you take dirt out from an area, and in some areas you're hitting rock, in some areas what you're doing is you're going beside the rock and excavating more, which means the rock is now more pronounced or more visible on the surface. Well, that's because that's the nature, that's kind of the collateral part of when you're doing excavation. The best that we can do is try to get them to put adequate cover on there through the agreement. And so if we were to go that extra step, and then it might require them to bring in dirt from the outside, which means maybe traffic on Jefferson. So in this last portion of it, we recommended raising the surety so that in case that has to happen, and it's upon whatever whatever the staff deems and whatever nature shows us and whatever work that's done out there, the amount of repair or reclamation required may require something from outside coming back into. If it leaves it extremely where it's not, where it can be applied and it's not done, then we have some reinforcement. The county can have some reinforcement to go ahead and address that.
And if I may add, it might be a confusion of where they are. This is a previous area that was borrowed by Republic. It was their own property, and it does, it is slowly being reclaimed by nature, but you can see it does look like a moonscape there. Let me see if I can, so it's kind of, from what you see from the road, you can see a lot of it as it is today. One of the requirements that we had on Mr. Reeves' application was to put a vegetated berm up, and this is what this area is here. And they planted some bamboo as well, so that provides more of a screen from the road and the neighbors than what you can see on the Republic side, the previous Republic excavation areas. So,
And also, Mike, if you can get to the buffer between the site and Riverwalk, you can still see.
Turn your microphone on.
Oh. Yeah, so if you go back to that, where the buffer is between the site and Riverwalk, you can see there is still adequate, there's still that buffer that's thriving between the site and Riverwalk. And so as they're working, one of the things that I do, or one of the practices I do, is go to Riverwalk and go down there and look at all those properties, look at their vehicles, look at, if I can, look at their pools and whatever they have to see if there's any residue or anything coming from the site to that subdivision. As soon as if I find anything, I would address it with the site. And if it gets really dusty, there's times when I've requested them to go ahead and put water on that to keep the dust down in the summertime. But you can see that buffer is the trees, and it's thriving there. It's gotten very thick. And so this last time around, I haven't been able to see anything. And if anybody calls, I would go ahead and look at that and try to go from where they're at their address, to see what it would look like from those conditions from the site.
Okay. And this is a question I think needs to be asked also is, what happens to this property if this isn't approved from the county side of things?
Well, we have funds to reclaim some of the area, but not all of the area. So we're still holding a surety for this area here and some of this other area, but I doubt we have enough money to cover this area, the Rio Barro property that was never reclaimed.
Okay, and the magnet to the reason this is all here is the Republic property to the west.
Yes, sir.
And y'all staff may not know the answer to this question, but there's been a lot of figures thrown about in the news and the social media and whatnot, and on how long can this landfill stay open at the current rates it's at? I don't know whether you all can comment on that or not, because it's a private piece of property, but is there any figures on that?
I do not know. That would be a question for Republic, TDEC, and people more in tune to that. That's their forte. But you can see it's quite active in this aerial image. They have several vehicles queued up, and it's a working site right now where they're bringing the garbage right now.
And that's a picture from a year ago.
Yeah. Yes,
So-
sir.
And they've had a year's worth of depositing material on top of that hill.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All we can deal with is just what's before.
I know, I'm just trying to get some.
Okay.
see the
Any
big
other
picture type
questions?
thing. Thank you.
Okay, any other question?
I just want to say one more thing, just whenever it comes to the red clay and the hydro seed. I mean, there needs to be topsoil.
Yes, sir. That's
for that
part
to
of it.
work. And I think that's what we're seeing is the result of that topsoil not being out there for anything to be able to germinate for the reclamation process to truly work.
Right. And that's part of what they were doing. They were bringing some topsoil in to cover those bare areas. But some, like you can see, this area here still needs more work.
Thank you for those pictures.
Oh, yes, sir.
Does that finish your report?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I have one more? If we could go to where Canvasback Court is in Riverwalk.
There's Heron, Mallard.
It's over here on the east side.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
And you don't have address points, you got lots.
I can turn those on. Let's see if I can find it. Got too many layers. Cemetery. I'm getting closer. There we go. The red and white are the
Yeah.
address points.
All right. Okay, up there at 10. Okay, never mind. One of the emails we got referred to one of those houses there, but it's up against the other property that isn't even part of this application, so I have nothing further. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
and like I
At
said,
this time, we'll ask Mr. Reeves, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, there is an active project. The new owners are filling this small area. This was another borrow pit area. You can see it's got some cover on it, but they're bringing clay back in here. It's a local quarry owner that has, when they are quarrying the material, they run into clay seams and they need a place to put their clay material, so they're bringing it back here, which I thought was odd that this was a borrow area for clay. So,
Anything else?
no, sir, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Reeves, Attorney Goodman, you want to speak for them? If you'll come around, please.
Murphy Goodman, Rosado Attorneys. I represent the applicants, Richard Reeves and Joan Reeves. We're just requesting renewal of the special exception for borrow pits. It is similar to the prior renewals, but unlike the last renewal, this does include the property currently owned by Rio Barro. So the Rio Barro property, which is the 9.11 acres, if you want to go to the next slide. The Rio Barro property, which is the 9.11 acres that there's been a lot of discussion about, was not a part of the most recent applications and renewals. Without getting into too much, there was cooperation between Rio Barro and Mr. Reeves, and then there wasn't, and so we were not able to touch the Rio Barro property. There now is an agreement contingent on approval here to acquire Rio Barro so that we can, so that Mr. Reeves can get back into Rio Barro, do some excavation, and fix that. But this allows the Reeveses to sell clay to the adjoining Republic site, which is a necessary part of the landfill operations, especially for EPA compliance. If you can flip to the next slide, please. So it's the 78.5 acre Reeves property on, which is directly adjacent to Republic, and the 9.11 acre Rio Barro property. Page 8 of the application packet gives progress of the excavation. Go to the next slide, please. The map is kind of difficult to see, but the, I don't know if you call that purple or pink or magenta or what, but whatever that color is there is the area that is the focus of this application. It's approximately 12.2 acres. Next slide, please. It's important to remember this does not extend or expand the life or scope of the landfill. The clay is normally trucked in by dump trucks across the public roads. If Republic doesn't get it from this Reeves site, they will inevitably obtain it from some other source, which will require extensive dump truck trips across the public roads. This merely allows the landfill to obtain the clay without using the public roads except for that brief crossing point across Landfill Road to take it to its property, just like they've been doing throughout the entire life of the project, because all clay is taken directly from this project to the Republic site for use at the landfill. Next slide. And again, this does remove extensive dump truck trips from the public roads, which preserves the road surfaces, reduces the possibility of traffic accidents, and reduces congestion. Next slide. Project engineer, Mr. Bob Woodham, is here tonight, and Mr. Woodham has submitted an excavation and reclamation plan to the planning department, and excavation is going to be conducted in accordance with that plan. There's already some bond or letter of credit or deposit posted to ensure compliance, and it's my understanding the county engineer is going to also get with us as to an increased amount on that, if I'm not mistaken about that. One thing I do want to say is that reclamation has been ongoing. So to the extent there's been trucks or activity over there, it's my understanding that that has been to get to a better point where the county was happier than they were. And I do want to say that in addition to resolving, having this pending resolution of the issue with Rio Barro, we also have changed contractors. Next slide, please. This is showing a reclaimed area. This photo is a little old. It was taken in 2018, but that does show an area that was excavated in 2014 and 2015. Next slide. Some of the commitments that Mr. Reeves has made and will continue to honor. There will be no blasting during the project. Dump trucks and service trucks involved in the project are prohibited from entering or exiting the applicant's property through any residential neighborhood, and excavation occurs only during daylight hours. Next slide. All borrow pits have been set back at least 150 feet from all Riverwalk property lines, and the applicants are using efforts to prevent dust, erosion, and air pollution. Next slide. The BZA retains extensive oversight of this project. We're required to come back at the end of each permitting period and request an extension. The permitting period is 6 months with the potential of a 3-month administrative extension, which allows the BZA to continue to police the applicant's fulfillment, their commitments and obligations to their neighbors, to the county, and to this board. Next slide. This is showing a photograph taken recently of the area. And I believe that was taken actually this week, showing some of the ongoing excavation and reclamation. And then next slide. And then again, that's the photo we saw before. So I can answer some questions, more technical questions. I would need to refer to Mr. Bob Woodham, the engineer. Yes, Mr. Farley.
Gary.
Earlier I asked about my question, but I'll ask you, since that road has been annexed into the city, do y'all have permission from the city to access that road?
That is not something we've discussed with the city yet, so we may need to look into that.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right, and my next question is, in the event that the Rio Bravo, Rio Bravo property is not approved for the extension, is there a plan to finish out what has already been approved without this being approved?
So the application tonight is for the Rio Barro property and the existing Reeves property is what the application is for tonight. If it's not approved as part of the if we are not approved to excavate from Rio Barro, then we would have to go back to the drawing board as to what our application would be. Is that responsive to your question, sir?
I guess I'm trying to get, in my mind, you're needing the Rio Bravo property to get the dirt off of it to bring it onto what's already been approved. For?
To bring it onto what's already been approved and also to bring it onto the Republic property. Yes, sir. Is that the question you're asking, Mr. Farley?
Any other questions?
And then just to piggy off that, because that was what my question was. If it's not approved, then, because I'm more concerned with the Rio Bravo, I think that's how, if I'm mispronouncing that, apologies, but that property looks horrendous.
Yes, ma'am, it
And
does.
that's a concern for me. But if it's not approved, what I understand, it will not be reclaimed or there won't be any other activity there unless we approve for the excavating activities.
I believe that's correct. So what I can say is Mr. Reeves does not own the Rio Barro property. Mr. Reeves will not own the Rio Barro property unless this is approved, because the purchase contract is contingent upon getting approval.
Okay,
Is
thank
that-
you. Yeah, I just needed the clarity in stacking it together, so
And
thank you.
I may be mispronouncing as well. I've been mispronouncing it the whole time. I almost called you Your Honor. I'm sorry. It's reflexive.
Ted?
Yes, sir.
When you first came before us, you remember you said yourself that before we moved on to another parcel, that reclamation would be done to that. And that hasn't been done, Ted.
That was not done. Yes, sir. You're right.
So what are you going to do about it?
Well, so what we've done about that is, as I said, we've got a new contractor now. So that's what we've done about that. And what, we can't change the past. What I can tell you is I've not been out there operating a bulldozer, and we can't change the past, but we can change is the future.
At least you acknowledged it.
I wholeheartedly acknowledge it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Again, I keep calling y'all Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Ted, with that being said,
Yes, sir.
and I appreciate you being honest about it. And with the new contractor, is there any way that what can happen is that contractor prove to the county that they're going to take care of and do it the right way and finish this out before we go further? Kind of like we're from Missouri, you're going to show us.
Yes, sir. So I think the answer to that is, who was the president that said trust but verify? And I believe that everyone's doing a lot more verification now. I think this project's on a tighter leash than it was. And so, and for one thing, it's a smaller area. I mean, we're confined now to only 12.2 acres.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm all about the trust but verify.
Yes, sir.
I personally would rather see somebody doing their due diligence and fixing what's already
Yes, sir.
there before we start moving further.
Yes, sir.
It scares me for that rope to get a little longer. We need to tighten that rope and make sure what's being done, what's supposed to be done is done before we go further. That's kind of where I'm at right now because of.
Right. So what I can say is, we've been, we can't, we've not been able to touch the Rio Barro property until very recently when we got permission to get on there and make it better.
But can you still do it without the Rio Bravo property?
If we don't own the Rio Barro property, I don't think.
You can get the dirt somewhere else. You have
Yes,
to
sir.
get it somewhere else.
Yes, sir. I know it's not the answer you're wanting, Mr. Farley, but it's what I believe to be the accurate answer as I'm standing here.
Thank you.
Ted, thank you. Did a good job.
Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate it. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. If you'll come to the podium, give us your name and any information from your perspective that you'd like to share on this.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to be here. Chairman Cantrell and everyone else. I wanted to voice my opposition to this application. And part of that has been addressed, I guess, by what has just been said here. But I don't think we're taking into account everything that this can do the area around here. One of them is the pits that are left behind when this excavation occurs holds water, as Mr. Cortez mentioned. This breeds mosquitoes, so we end up having a lot of mosquitoes. I live just north of where this is going to happen. So I just wanted to point that out as a public health risk. And I do want to say I bear no ill will or animosity toward the property owners that are putting this request forward. I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you state your name for the record, sir?
Eric Myers, I live in District 2.
Thank you. Next, anyone else? Come forward at this time. Be sure and give us your name for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Sean McGowan. I'm from District 15. I'm actually running for District 15 County Commission. Again, I guess I'm pretty disappointed that this has been going on for 10, 11 years. And now we're hearing it's the contractor's fault, it's somebody else's fault. I know when I pay a contractor, I look at their work and I inspect their work and I don't pay them if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And it kind of is also disappointing that everything that seems to involve the landfill is you have to tell them repeatedly to do something, then they eventually do it and they don't do it properly. So you were asking about the grade, giving a grade to what they're doing. It's just surprising that they have to be told to do this, and then they don't put enough topsoil. They don't do enough, and then they have to go back and keep doing it again. And also on the application, we were talking about Landfill Road. They're asking for an exemption for a surety bond for any road damage. So I don't know if, I haven't heard that be addressed. It's on the SharePoint, it's on the application, because it certainly seems the road goes one way, they're going to be going across the road, and I'm sure the road wasn't built for that kind of traffic. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Commissioner, good to see you. How are things out in your community?
It went when I left. My name's Steve Pierce. I live 2841 East Jefferson Pike. I'm not a stranger here, and y'all know that. And if I didn't have a purpose, I wouldn't come and aggravate you. Since I was up here last time and he was denied, it hasn't gotten any better. Part of the property that was in question that had been excavated and not reclaimed belongs to a new man now. Can you make him reclaim it? I don't know. He's got access to soil, and he's reclaiming it himself because he bought it sight unseen for quite a large amount of money. But that brings us back to, will this land ever be a farm? No. There's no soil there to grow anything. In the beginning, you've heard it a million times. Take 5 acres, reclaim 5 acres, and then start on 5 more acres. They are so far behind. There's not soil they could possibly catch up, nor the assurance bond would probably pay it either. We're going to come up short-handed in the end. Now, as a commissioner of that district, I'm going to let you know the road we've just built to our $14 million transfer station, there was $1 million worth of material plus labor put in that road. It's your tax dollars is where they come from. So do you want heavy dump trucks tearing up your tax dollar bought road? I don't want them tearing my part of it, that's for sure. And don't sit here and think that Republic cannot operate every day without the soil from this property. They've done it ever since Mr. Reeves was turned down. Trucks come in and out hauling dirt every day. I know it's a liability, but I hadn't heard of one of them having a wreck yet. So it's not going to stop the Republic landfill if you don't allow this to happen. You know, I don't know a whole lot more to tell you. I'm very passionate about the landfill. The number one calls I get from my district is landfill. The number two call is this borrow pit. If you stopped it today and didn't allow it anymore, the county will still go in the hole if they have to fix it. There's no doubt. Reclamation is not turning it back to nature. I'd say if you looked up the fine print on the first meeting this happened, it was probably seeded, to be seeded. Maybe 6 inches of topsoil and then seed the ground. It's a long ways from that. Don't think they can afford to do the entire farm now. It's a huge farm that needs to be caught back up. You know, I didn't come up here to tell you what to do or how to do your job, but I'm going to give you a recommendation. Shut this down. Let them reclaim what they can to try to get their assurance money back, and they won't have enough to do it. If they were lucky enough to do it, once they live up to their obligations of the agreement 10 or 11 years ago, let them go then. The ground will still be there. It's not going anywhere. But they won't have dirt left to sell Republic if that's done, because it'll all be spread out on reclamation. I thank you for your time, and I appreciate you letting me come and speak to you. If they come back again, look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Public hearing, now's your chance. Anyone else? Come forward. You can come on up and line up and get ready.
My name is Pat Bacon, 2814 Archer. Well, I'm insulted, and I'm not a commissioner. I feel like you've been put into a situation of bargaining with Republic. We will do what we should have already done if you do this. We won't drive on your roads and mess up your roads. But if you don't approve the Reeves property, we will. I feel threatened. I'm a Rutherford County resident. I'm a taxpayer. I was here when landfill was first brought in at Walter Hill. And I have heard this arrogance, for lack of a better word, over and over again. This esteemed body has power because you represent us. You represent us every day out there in the public. You get the phone calls and the texts and the emails, and you hear from us constantly about our concerns. Rio Bravo, if they had had their ducks in a row and they had the right attitude about it, that already been done. There wouldn't have been a parking chip. They wouldn't have insulted us with that. They would have taken the high road. You're saying 58% of this property will now be destroyed? Because make no mistake about it, topsoil is a living body full of nutrients. If I'm a hot deer and I see a body of water over there across them rocks, you doggone straight, I'm gonna go over there. And is reclaiming, dropping a few fish in there so that inspectors can find it? Color me suspicious. Is that what happened? I'll drop some frogs over there too while I'm at it. This land will not be quality land that it once was for hundreds of years. How much of that soil that they're bringing in is washing away? Topsoil doesn't just sit there. If I put a thin layer and throw some hay over it and put you some grass out there, how much of that's going to wash away? I am suspicious, and you should be too. And you're better than this. Don't be held hostage by an organization that has proven that they are not in a right frame of mind to keep Rutherford County beautiful, to keep it healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Melissa Farley, and I've been asked to speak on behalf of some of the Riverwalk neighbors. I know someone who lives in Riverwalk next to the Reeves property. Her neighbors talked to us about their concerns and asked us to read and forward this on her behalf. I sent her email and pictures to you all this morning. We understand what Mr. Reeves and Middle Point get out of this petition, but what about Rutherford County citizens like Ms. Lyons and her neighbors? Several of them planned to come to speak before you when this was scheduled in the fall, but since it's been put on and taken off the agenda so many times, some were unable to come. Can we ask why it was rescheduled so many times? This seems unfair to the people who want to share their opinions on this. The neighbors argue that reclamation has still not been made in any substantial amount, even many years later, and what has been done is too little too late. We have heard from several neighbors that dirt is still being removed from the property when it's not currently permitted also. They do not believe that the current trucks taking out dirt are really there for reclamation purposes. Also, what about the newly paved landfill road that the surety bond is asking for an exception to not cover damage to? So this is the letter from Ms. Linda Lyons. She says, "Dear Board, I regret not attending, but my husband and I are disabled and could not find a parking place to attend the last meeting. I'm Linda Lyons at 107 Canvasback Court in Riverwalk." And to Mr. Curtis's point, there was a borrow pit on that side of the slideshow as well. Our lot is bordered on two sides by ditches that feed down to the river. The water feeds from the other side of the neighborhood through our ditches that direct the water toward the river. It happens more often each year. Sometimes water stands 4 to 6 inches in our yard after a good rain, gushing from the ditches. The water does not absorb in the ground, but rushes over the rock. Mr. Reeves scrapes the soil off and empties out in our ditches. This is what happened above Careville, Texas. But let's go back to Mr. Reeves' past promises to Riverwalk and to the zoning board. He started by promising our community a lake with walking paths around it and places for children to play. Instead, we get extremely deep holes in the area where adventurous children can fall into. I wonder what he is promising to do this time. There's a line I won't read here, but it's in your email. And then her final line, "I request the board deny this request. Yours truly, Linda Lyons." I agree with what Mr. Farley said earlier. Let's fix what's there before more is approved.
Thank you. Next. Anyone else, you can line up over here.
My name is Laramie Gregory. I live in Lascassas. I can't remember your name, sir. The attorney that represented the family, you made the comment that this would not adjust the lifespan or the scope of the operation. I simply disagree with that. Through this application, the county is being asked to subsidize the operations of the landfill by providing them cheaper operations to use the borrow pits right there beside their current facility. They've already said that they'll have to bring this in from somewhere else. The only thing that's going to make this unprofitable for them is to make them operate at a level like any other business would have to, where they're having to compete with other businesses. Through this application, you're going to give them access to dirt right beside there, which creates more pits, which there are concerns about leaching and water there that could compound with the leaching and concerns that we have from water running off the dump already. If you say no to this, then it makes their operations more expensive. It makes it unattractive for people to continue bringing trash here when they have to increase their rates. And it will make it more attractive to create another landfill somewhere else where the other people in other county have to look for another place to bring their stuff because it's no longer affordable to operate inside Rutherford County. Please deny this application and make them find dirt and clay somewhere else.
Thank you. Anyone else? Close the public hearing. Entertain a motion. Mike?
I've made a list. Based on the information that we have heard today from staff, from the applicant's representative, from the public, from the commissioner representing the area, and the numerous other information that we have gathered this last week through either emails, texts, whatever. I feel like This current project is a detriment to the health and safety of the people of the area due to large standing bodies of water that are open to children having problems getting involved with and/or mosquitoes. A history of non-compliance, such as the heavy equipment that's out there well past the time when it was supposed to be out there, and no approval from the entity responsible for maintenance of the landfill road to cross it, and possibly having them bring their trucks out on the road, which was not part of their application. And just a general, it's time to stop the bleeding of what's going on in this area, and as such, I move to deny this.
I have a motion that be denied with all of those requirements. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Call roll, please.
Mike, excuse me, Mike Curtis,
Yes.
Amber Brown,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Gary Farley,
Yes.
Renee Curtis,
Yes.
Patrick Hale,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes. The next item we have is a request by Jose Manuel Rincon, who is requesting establishment of a major home business, and this has to do with the construction business. And what do you have on that, please?
Thank you. Application 2026-2 involves the property located at 1944 Weeks Road. It's a request for special exception for the establishment of a major home-based business involving a concrete construction business upon a property located in the RM zone. And the property is they are wanting to establish a commercial concrete contracting business in this structure that you see in the aerial. Business days and hours are 6 days per week, Monday through Saturday, from the hours 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The applicant employs up to 20 persons. However, no more than 8 will be located on site at the same time. Employees will report to the site and pick up a work truck and trailer, and times of arrival and departure will vary. The applicant states that only one employee will always be present on site. As part of this request, the applicant is also requesting approval for the storage of 6 work trucks, each with a trailer and equipment, which includes a skid steer, a Moffett forklift, mini excavator, and a 308 cat excavator, as well as indoor storage of materials, lumber, rebar, sandbags, plastic rolls, wire mesh, foam boards, J-bolts, and straps. The applicant was made aware of the need to apply for zoning approval during inspections of the detached accessory buildings that were legally permitted. The structures in question total approximately 7,200 square feet. Now, this is the building in question, and we received many calls in opposition to this request because of the business operations have already started taking place. There have been concerns with sound and noise, traffic, just the increased activity in the rural area, and also there were complaints about noxious smells from burning of materials. So this was not the result of a code enforcement complaint. However, when the structure was being inspected, this is what the structure looked like, and it was evident that there was a business operation taking place. The applicant supplied these photos. So in consideration of the special exception criteria for major home-based business, staff is concerned with the activity not being compatible with the residential nature of the area. And however, if the board chooses to approve, they should condition its approval that it continually complies with the provisions found in section 1101N1 and 1408D2 of the zoning ordinance, and a condition requiring the applicant to install privacy fencing surrounding the affected areas of the site along the property line shared with 2024 Weeks Road. And that concludes my presentation.
Do we have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please.
Thank you. Attorney who represents the applicant, Mr. Rincon, and I'm here just to try to articulate part of his application a little bit better because the reading of it, I think, requires that. The commercial structure or the garage that was built is approximately 7,200 square feet, and Mr. Rincon has a construction business. It's a concrete business principally, and there's no actual work that occurs at the property. He uses it for the storage of the trucks and work materials, and his crew who drive the trucks report in the morning, pick up what they need, and then they leave and work at whatever the job sites are throughout the county, throughout the area. And then they return in the evening, dropping off the trucks and trailers, and then getting into their personal vehicles and then heading out for the day. So that's the general purpose of it. There's only one employee who remains on site throughout the day. In terms of the number of employees who come and go throughout the day, there's generally about 6 or 7 who would do that. It would be the drivers of the vehicles, and then they'll go and pick up the workers that are needed for the day closer to the job site, so those fellows aren't having to drive so far. So that's the basic purpose of it, and there's also materials that are stored in the garage that are related to the business, things like rebar, construction-related materials for the concrete business. So in terms of the site itself, it's really there for the purpose of the storage of the vehicles and the equipment and the storage of any work-related materials that might be necessary for the business. So it's that storage and then a meeting point for the fellows who actually drive the trucks for Mr. Rincon to then go out to their respective job sites throughout the day. So I just wanted to try to articulate that a little bit better.
I'm curious about the driveway. Is that gravel?
Yes.
Or is it asphalt?
It's gravel.
Okay, because it's that connected property. Does the applicant own that connected property?
Which part?
To the left?
To the left?
Yeah, where the storage facility was built, those neighbors to the left.
To the left, no, that's
Is that a home?
yeah, that's a home that has another type of garage attached to it. And I can't speak to that business that's there. I think that there's some type of business that might operate out of that. I honestly don't know. But that driveway that's used for Mr. Rincon is his driveway that leads to the garage that has the white roofing that you can see.
Mr. Saul, can you speak into the microphone?
I'm sorry. The Mr. Rincon's driveway is the gravel driveway that runs right along the left-hand edge of the property and then goes into the garage area. And when I'm speaking of the garage area, I'm talking about the large garage that has the white roof. The property to the left is another homeowner. They don't actually share that particular driveway. He has a separate driveway that runs back to his property.
Okay, there's concerns that your neighbors have that obviously we are hearing about that. Can you talk to the activities that's happening on the property? Because I know you said there's not, but it's got to be if there's complaints.
Right. I think and I can't speak to the individual complaints, but I think what that might be related to is these guys get there early, probably 6 a.m., thereabouts. So they're coming in their personal vehicle, they'll park, they'll go retrieve whichever truck they have for the job that they have for the day, and then they'll pull out. So there's not like I mentioned before, there's not actually any work that is conducted there, like a factory or manufacturing type setting. So I think the issue is as that activity of people coming in and out early in the morning.
And the equipment moving, because
And
the
the
equipment
equipment.
has to be loaded and unloaded, correct?
Right, well,
Am I
they keep
understanding that right?
yeah, if there's another piece of equipment that needs to be switched out based on whatever the job is, I believe Mr. Rincon, they do that in the evenings, so that in the morning, all they have to do, everything's ready, so they just hop in whichever truck he's going to use, and then they leave. So I think that's where some of the issue may be in the evenings because of the movement of the equipment. But then, too, they are there early in the morning because these guys are construction guys, and they're getting out there early to these job sites. So that may be part of the issue as well.
Are any of these, is it any of this equipment equipped with backup beepers for safety?
I honestly couldn't tell you that, although I'm sure that any of the equipment that would be actually on a job site that's offloaded off the trailer, I'm sure has the backup beepers. But again, Mr. Rincon informs me that they try to switch out the equipment, or they do that in the evenings, so that they're aware of the morning issue, that they're trying to be as quiet as they can be.
Yeah, those are very loud.
Yeah, they're very annoying, honestly, they are, and I can understand that. And I can also say that Mr. Rincon, whatever requirements might be put in place, I know there was a reference to the requirement for fencing. He would be more than willing to comply with that. If there was a requirement to any type of noise related to the backing up of certain equipment, if that was put down that he had to disconnect that while it was on the property and reconnect it when he was on a job site, he would comply with that. He's willing to be very compliant with whatever the board might require.
What about the maintenance of all those vehicles and all that heavy equipment?
He has a maintenance person, and they have a separate contract with them. They don't actually, the maintenance that's done on the vehicles themselves or the equipment does not happen at that property. They'll take it to whoever has the service contract for the vehicles or for the construction equipment.
So nobody's checking oil, topping off fluids?
They're not doing any of that.
Before they go to a job site for the day?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Jerry?
You know, this is zoned residential, and
Yes, sir.
being residential, any home-based business, it's not supposed to, nobody can really tell it's there. I don't see how in the world you can make a concrete business with that many people, that much of equipment, and people not know that there's a business there. How would you comply with it?
I think some of that could be addressed with fencing, but frankly, the vehicles coming in and out, I mean, it'd be obvious that there's a bit.
Well, I
there's a
noticed in
business
those pictures, like they were pallets of lumber and stuff. That
Yeah.
has to be brought in on a lowboy or something.
So generally, there's one delivery made per month. And what Mr. Rincon does is if he's able to get a deal, like a block of material at a discount, then he'll say, okay, bring that in, because it obviously helps his bottom line.
But that's not what I was talking about, as in how is the neighbors not going to know there's a business
I see
going
what you're saying. Yeah.
because of the activities?
Right. I mean, if you're a neighbor, as we look to the left of the property, the residential home that's on the far left, I mean, if you're, frankly, if you're sitting outside at 6 a.m. having a cup of coffee, you're going to see these guys coming and going. A fence could help offset that, but they're still going to be coming in and out of the driveway.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. When was this property purchased?
Mr. Rincon purchased it in 2024 and did renovations to the house. There was an original detached garage that was part of the property when Mr. Rincon purchased it, and then he added onto the garage the significant space that's behind. It's attached to that original garage, but that was added on after the fact.
You talking about the building?
Yes, ma'am.
That-
Yes.
That's not just an add-on, that's a building.
No, it's it's
Yeah,
7,000 square
That's
feet.
not an add-on that I would put behind my house.
No, but it's,
No,
but it's,
a business.
I understand, but what I'm saying is it was added on to the existing, there's a small garage that's there that could probably hold 3 vehicles, 3 cars. or
So
pickup
did
truck.
his business grow with the purchase of this property, or did he,
It's been growing. He's
outgrown residential, sir? He has. And I don't know what you could say to fix it, honestly.
I think the only way to fix it in terms of the site of it would be some kind of fencing, but
You can see through fence. I don't care if it's bamboo, you know,
Yes, ma'am.
it loses the leaves in
I understand.
It just, this is, I just don't see. It was done wrong and without permission. And that's not the way we have to work.
I understand. In defense of Mr. Rincon, I think in his mind he was thinking, well, I'm out here where there's 9 acres. I can build a garage and, you know, this building and.
Maybe you need to ask your neighbors or find out before you purchase
I think
the
that
property.
I think that's what he was.
He needed
was
like an attorney like yourself to review the contract prior to purchase, and then he wouldn't have been in this situation.
Review the
Thank you
actual-
so much.
Review the zoning. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Any other questions? Guess not. We'll open this for a public hearing. For anyone who'd like to speak on this, if you'll come around here.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to y'all. As much as I can appreciate Mr. McCone's position, Mr. McCone definitely did not do his due diligence. This is a residential property. It has had a huge effect on the area already. The first thing that he did when he purchased the property and moved in, he built a large fence that runs along the side of Weeks. I hope y'all can still hear me. That runs along the side of Weeks. Jones Lane is in the corner right there. So you have Weeks that goes into the curve. Well, he built a fence. I don't know if he pulled a permit for the fence. It's huge brick columns and 3 rails that run between the brick columns. As you're coming down Weeks, if you're turning, you're okay, but if you're trying to turn left on Jones Lane, which me and several of my friends that are here with me today, you can't see oncoming cars, especially if you're in a car. You can't see a car coming from the other way on Weeks. So if you're turning into Jones, you got to keep creeping out, praying you don't get hit. That's the first thing that he did when he moved in. I'd like to know, did he pull a permit for the building that he built? I would love to know that, because one day it's not there, the next day it is there. And to speak on the heavy equipment, 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., that's far from the truth. I will tell you, and having trucks stop once a month, that's also not true. When you saw the inside of the building, you saw pallets of stuff. Here's the other thing you don't see. Huge screens that are used in concrete. There's a huge flatbed semi stopped on Weeks. How do you get that stuff off? Well, you bring in a forklift, right? Okay, so the forklift comes in, takes that material off. What do you think's happened to the cars that are on that road while this semi is on the road? They're not going anywhere. Might only be 1 or 2, but should we be inconvenienced for a commercial business in a residential area? My opinion is no. I don't think we should be. So, you know, and they talk about 1 truck. It's not 1 truck. It's whatever materials they need for whatever jobs they have that are coming up. And they don't care who they inconvenience, I promise you. And they cleaned up the site. The pictures are so nice and pretty right now. You don't see all the vehicles and stuff over there right now. And they talk about 1 person on site and all this other stuff. It's not the case. It's not the case. You know that. You can't have a concrete business running out of a residential area and think it's not going to impact the area. Let's go a step beyond that. Let's talk about property values that could potentially be affected by this. And to answer your other question, the person that lives next to him, that's residential. It's not commercial. It's not a business. Is that my time
You
up?
need to try to finish up.
Okay, so in conclusion, this business has absolutely no business being there. And it also goes back to the point of asking for forgiveness instead of permission. They're already running the business. They have been for a year. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to y'all. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next.
Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Tony Cortez, I live on Jones Lane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Janet Billingsley. I live at 1811 Weeks Road, directly across the street from this business. It's been a problem ever since they started. They put in that big fence, moved my mailbox without permission from the federal government, and put in this big driveway. Not only that, but there's parties that happen late at night. They have music blaring. They burn material that smells ridiculous, and it's just not proper. The semis that park on Reeks Road, you can't get around because it's taking up almost the whole road, and it's just out of inconsiderate to allow people that around us. It's inconsiderate for us around that live around this. It's just been a nightmare ever since they started. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Yeah, give us your name and then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Jay Mansfield. I live on 6308 Jones Lane, and I can't really say anything more than they've already told you. I don't think any permits were required for them first go around. They seem to have done this, I think, before on the lot next to me, before they purchased this property. They don't seem to care what they do. They just come in and set up shop, basically. But I appreciate Tony and everybody coming out and my chance to talk. Thank y'all very much.
Excuse me, did you say that there's another property that they own?
There was a lot. I don't know if it was them. I know that they probably work with them. Okay. But it's, yeah. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, my name is Jackie Allen. I live right next door to them in that little blue house with all the animals. I've lived there for 30 years. My favorite thing to do is to go out on my porch in the morning and pray and just enjoy nature. I've had birds, deer, duck, I mean, there's everything. It's not like that anymore. In the morning, early in the morning, there's so much noise. It's in and out, in and out. And what are they doing to our road? I mean, there's so many trucks going in and out. And he said from 6 to 6, no. I've seen them come in and out at 12 o'clock at night. It wakes me up because their lights are so bright that it goes right into my bedroom window and I can hear everything. And so, you know, it's not the place. That's a beautiful area there, and it's peaceful, and it's not anymore. You know, and the smell, I don't know what they burn over there, but it's horrible. There's sometimes my daughter and I can't even go outside because she's got COPD, and I've got a little bit too, but you open the door and you can't even go outside because of the smell. So I just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next.
So I also live on Jones Lane, but my complaint is that, yes, this is not a commercial area. Secondly, I I come home on Rocky Top, and oftentimes I am behind or coming toward one of their vehicles with their trailers, and they are all over the road where I have to stop and wait for them to cross or, to go on with their equipment, and they go at pretty high speeds, and they don't blinker when they turn into their property, but so far we've learned that those are where they're going to turn, so we respect that. Secondly, the amount of trash that is found in the ditches in front of their property and on the other side of the street is unbelievable. Our neighbors just spent a whole Sunday afternoon picking up a trailer load of trash. So, and I think it speaks to the parties that they have, because we live at the very end of Jones Lane and we can hear their parties at our place. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Can you
Anyone else?
state your name and address?
Elizabeth Nobilski, 6373
We can't hear. No, that's fine.
Elizabeth Nobilski, 6373 Jones Lane.
Thank you. Be sure and remember the first thing you do is give us your name. Come on.
Good evening. My name is Tammy, and I actually live right down the road from this business. 12 years ago, my husband and I moved here from Ohio. It took us 3 years to find a house that kind of matched how we lived in Ohio, on a country road with families and older people like my husband and I. We wanted to be able to, have our grandchildren come over and be safe. It has been everything that we had expected, except for lately. I am a nurse. I go to work at 6 a.m. in the morning. I come home at 6 p.m. in the night. I have run into tractor-trailer trucks unloading around that turn in the dark in the morning, which is now I got to find my way around the truck and hope that somebody is not coming at me. They have been operating. I worry about safety. I worry about, is this going to affect land taxes? Is this going to affect, it's just that it's very kind of disappointing that this gentleman says that they haven't been operating, but they have been. My husband is a truck driver. He won't even bring his truck home. He actually pays to have his truck parked elsewhere because he refuses to drive it down a country road that is not big enough to put trucks on. And these people are bringing in trucks to unload them. So I guess my concern is that I want to keep it safe and I want to keep it family oriented. I mean, that's what it's so nice to have my grandchildren come and visit me and be able to ride their bikes up and down the road safely. It's just that, it's just that my husband and I looked for a long time for this piece of property, and I just don't want it to be ruined for, somebody that's trying to start a business. And yes, it may be small now, but are they planning on growing it? It's just, but anyways, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Ma'am, could you state your address for the record for the minute? I can't hear. I'm sorry, I can't. The sound is 1601, 1601.
Thank you. Commissioner P.
Robert P., 4047 Bivens Hill Road, Reedville, Tennessee, and I am the commissioner in this area. First thing I want to say is I've received a lot of calls. I like to think that people can do what they want to on their own property, but there's no saying, my rights end where yours begin, and it's reciprocal. I'm not hearing this. The best comment I've heard from one of my friends that lives out there is he doesn't mind them coming in and parking and leaving. But a lot of the other people that have contacted me in that area have stated what you've been hearing. There's trash on the roads. They're having to call the county to come out and help clean it up. they're parking semi-trailers on the main road there and unloading with forklifts and blocking the highway. You know, minimum, that should be disallowed. Two, they're in here asking for forgiveness instead of permission. And you can't tell me a man astute enough to run a concrete business of this magnitude doesn't know the rules. So that doesn't float with me. And my recommendation is to deny this request. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is anyone else? I've got to, when I see Robert P. come by, I've got to mention one thing. He's the son of Bob P. Most of you are too young to remember him, but few of you don't. But he was one of the great commissioners of the old time, back in the days when we had 40 or something commissioners, and he was a unique commissioner at that time, and I think of that quite often. I served, I think it's something around 14 years with Commissioner Bob P. Anyone else? I'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we deny the request based on the findings of the staff finds that it does not meet our qualifications for our zoning ordinance.
Okay.
I will second that.
Okay, and according to our staff, this does not meet the general requirements.
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussions? Call a roll, please.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Could I add a couple things to that, if it's okay with you, Gary, that this is too large for a home-based business. There's a lot of outside storage, health and safety of the community with the trucks on the roads and the vehicles coming and going. The narrow roads don't, and also the narrow roads there don't support this kind of operation. I just wanted to add some extra things to it just to give it a little more weight.
And I don't have a problem adding that into my motion.
Okay, thank you for adding that. Any further comments? Call a roll, please.
Mike Curtis,
Yes.
Amber Brown,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Gary Farley,
Yes.
Renee Curtis,
Yes.
Patrick Hale,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes. The next item, we have a request by Ezekiel Watkins, who is requesting a approval for establishment of a major home business. This is outdoor storage of concrete materials. What do you have on that, please?
Thank you. Application 2026-10 involves the property at 1472 Highway 41A South. It's a request for special exception approval to allow the establishment of a major home-based business permitting the outdoor storage of concrete materials used in association with an excavation company in the RL zone. This is a 15.68 acre parcel, and they are seeking special exception approval for this business that specializes in the recycling of rock and concrete materials. The request includes the outdoor storage of concrete and rock materials generated from off-site operations. On occasion, excess material would be brought to the property for temporary storage and future use. No additional structures are proposed as part of this request. All materials would be stored within an existing earthen berm constructed by the applicant to provide screening from the roadway. The proposed business would not include additional employees, and all services would be performed off-site. The applicant indicates that the commercial truck activity associated with the material transport would occur Monday through Friday between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. No signage is proposed in connection with this request, and they also seek approval to park and store 2 to 3 commercial vehicles consisting of dump trucks, semi-trucks on the property. This is the result of a code enforcement complaint. It was investigated, and Mr. Watkins had obtained back in, I believe it was 20 or 2021, a minor home-based business approval. But upon the most recent complaint, They determined that it exceeded those parameters for a minor home-based business, and they advised Mr. Watkins to come in and apply for a special exception for a major home-based business. For the most part, the request meets the criteria for a major home-based business. However, Mr. Watkins accesses his property using a private access easement through another person's property. I don't have the address in front of me, but it's this ingress-egress easement measures approximately 2,500 feet long. So all of the truck activity associated with the business would be driving through this property to reach the final destination. This is a picture of the earthen berm. So you will see he has stored all of the materials within this berm. So it's likely it's not visible from the road or adjacent property owners. And this is an example of some of the materials that have been brought back that I'm assuming have been made available for sale on the property. The applicant had indicated that there is some history with the applicant and the adjacent property owner. I'm sure you will hear about it tonight. But there was a complaint about the dust that was posed to TDOT, and upon investigation, they did not find any violations. The applicant submitted this. It's quite difficult to read, but he wanted that included in your information that was presented tonight. And so, as you'll see, this is the site itself. He has the house and the shop and a hay barn, a grain bin. There are some agricultural structures on the property, and this is the earthen berm. This is where he proposes to store materials and out in the hatched areas. And so that being said, we do find that the use is slightly incompatible based on the fact that someone's property is used to access this property, and that business activity could be considered incompatible. That concludes our presentation.
Mike?
Danielle, I did some research on this piece of property, and the property assessor's webpage does not show a residence on this property. There is no diagram of a residence in their tax card. There is no evidence of a residence on this property.
I can't respond to that. I know that maybe, often you'll see in these structures, people will create like an apartment within it. But Tanya, can you?
I honestly can't either. We started working with this property owner, both property owners. The property in the front that the easement runs through is actually inside the city limits of Eagleville. The property in question tonight that's the application applies to is in Rutherford County. We first started working with these two property owners in about 2021, and the residence has been there ever since. So I honestly, it's not something I've went and looked at, or I wasn't aware that it wasn't on the tax record.
Okay, I just want to make sure everybody was aware of that. Thank you.
We can find out from that. Do we have anyone here representing this? If you'll come around, please. Give us your name and any information here.
Yes.
You have a question over here.
Okay. My name is Ezekiel Watkins. I've lived in Eagleville since 1999. I've owned the property since 2002. The residence has actually been approved by the county. There was actual a separate fees and inspections and all that were done too in 2007 or so. So yes, it has been approved. Okay. And I've paid. I paid taxes since then.
I'm just telling you what I see on the sites when I check properties out, particularly with home-based businesses. I want to make sure there's a residence there.
Yeah,
that's how I usually check it.
It doesn't even show that I'm agricultural too, but it is agricultural too.
So there was a picture with like the big concrete barriers. How are you getting that to your property? Like what type of vehicle?
A big truck and trailer.
A tractor trailer. Okay,
Not-
how often is it? Because that's a long.
This is a
stretch.
special circumstance. I generally don't get this type of material, but from the job that I do, this was a waste product that I acquired for my use on my companies. So it's not like I do this every day. Tanya's been very well aware of my situation, and this is just a special circumstance that my outside storage has gotten bigger. So it's not like I'm trying to go around the county or anything. You know.
So since this, have you worked with your neighbor? Have you talked to your neighbor about your business? I know you first started as a minor business and you've obviously grown to a major size business. So since then, and having the code enforcement, have you talked to your neighbors? Maybe that makes more sense.
There's special circumstances I can't talk to them. Really.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. You may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing. If you'll come around, line up. First thing, give us your name.
Tim Coulter, 1460 Highway 41A. We are the property in front of this, so I'd like to read you what I prepared here. We do not believe the business meets the requirements of Section 1408 on several grounds. All of the surrounding property is agriculture and under Greenbelt. All of the properties are currently conducting farming. There are cows on the property to the south, cows on the west, corn, soybean fields to the east. We are directly to the north, and we have had cows, chickens, goats ourselves. We participate in agritourism, and we have since 2010. We currently have a wedding scheduled for April 11th at our pond. I don't think anyone in this room would like to have a tractor trailer of culverts passing by their wedding, dusting them out. In 2018, Mr. Watkins threatened a lawsuit if we reopened our Catfish Pay Lake. You can see that big lake there. This caused the city lawyers to become involved in their determination that we are covered under the Tennessee Right to Farm Act. We have included a copy of that. I've emailed a couple of y'all that. A major home-based business would ruin the property usage under this agritourism banner. The driveway being used, as mentioned, is over 2,000 foot. That splits our property directly in half. The requirements under 1408, or the allowance, I should say, is 10 trips. 10 trips is going to give you 10 in, 10 out. That's 20 trips. That's over 40,000 feet. That's 7 miles of traffic that we have to put up with for something that, why? Why is that there? When you look at this, what it does is it creates tons of dust. You got engine noises from tractor trailers. I mean, some guy comes out there with a jake brake on. Why? Why do you have a jake brake on? It's flat ground. Trailers bouncing. The driveway itself and the bend up there, if you see in the front part of it, this driveway is under litigation. We're in an active litigation that 2 years we've been waiting on engineers to tell us how to fix it. You can see that curve in that front section where it's bowed. It's in the wrong spot. He's asking for a permit to drive on a disputed easement that Judge Scarlett said, when you get the engineering report, we'll move the road. So he wants to drive on something that doesn't, it's not even, it's my property. I mean, it's ridiculous to even ask, hey, can I drive on someone else's property? Of course, y'all don't know that, but you know now. So in conjunction with that, this board had a case with the Griffin, with the Board of Engineers, or the board here with Griffin, and it was a home-based business where they were doing pressure washing. Same thing. Same thing. You got trucks, trailers, noise, vibration. I mean, we're out here, we're 1,600 foot off the road at our home. It's 75 foot from the house. All hours of the day, 7 days a week. You can't put a sign on it. We own the property. He can't put a sign up. So what happens? When you drive down that road, you can't see anything. You can see nothing. That big gigantic pile right there, you can't see it. So what happens is, when they drive down our property, the customers can't find us. So I'm over there working on the farm, throwing hay bales, and I look up and there's some guy flagging me down, hey. And I'm like, yeah, well, what's up, man? I don't know who he is. I'm looking for the culverts. Yeah, he's in the back. Would I work for him now or something? I mean, why do I have to do that? And there's no way for him to fix that because the customers are lost. You see the separate driveway over right beside it? That's our personal driveway. They drive down our driveway. They're lost. They're all over the place. And as far as like some of the things we say dust, here's your truck, here's your dust on my property, because that pile of rock you see right there is the 840 Almaville ramp that was part of a waste and borrow site that never got, it was supposed to be 5,000 cubic yards, 3 foot covered up. It's 30 to 40 foot tall. He wants to crush that material and put it all over the place. That's great. You put it all over my driveway, you ruin my driveway. Next thing I know, I got this dust everywhere, concrete dust. That's what you see on there, silica dust everywhere. And now we got more traffic? I don't think that we should be approving something on someone else's property, and I can't control that. And then there's a case, 2024, it was Noble versus Gray, come out of the appeals court. And what that case says is basically...
You're running out of time. You need to finish up.
Okay. Basically what that case says is that the easement can't be used for what it was created for. It was created for residential. This is a massive farm. It's at the end of Eagleville. There's hundreds of acres of farmland all the way around this. It's not like this is a business. He's in the middle of it, so he's trucking through there. No one else is doing that. There's nothing like that anywhere. So I would ask y'all to deny that so that we can have our peace and privacy. But I have people on my property, I don't even know who they are. How in the world can I even secure my property? So, thank you.
Thank you. Next. Anyone else come around?
How y'all doing? My name is Aaron Coffey. I live at 1460 Highway 41A South, and I'm here tonight to talk in opposition of this exemption for this business. So Mr. Watkins began this new commercial business approximately April 2nd, 2024. So this has been going on for 23 months already. As well, we are still currently in litigation for similar businesses that were in 2017. So, but anyway, his customers enter and exit this 2,000 plus foot easement through our property, 75 foot from my house. This goes on 7 days a week, all hours, wakes me up, they knock on my door. Customers sometimes speed through the farm disregarding a speed limit sign that's out by the pay leg. They create loud banging noises hitting the potholes on the driveway. They trespass onto the property and onto our private drive. Here's a truck right here from 2 or 3 weeks ago. The gentleman that drives this truck was in my garage, surprised me in my garage, asking if I was Zeke. This picture right here is from when the business started, and this photo's from the other day. You see the difference in the road damage. Okay, so they turn around in the yard. They turn around over my septic field lines. This truck right here actually turned around right here over top of my fill line area. So is that going to be a problem in the future? I don't know. But the extra commercial traffic has significantly increased the dust coming off the concrete dust that's on just specifically on that easement. So it produces a lot of dust just from the residential traffic, let alone the commercial traffic. So, so these commercial sales do not fit this area, this location, and the surrounding farming area. So Mr. Watkins, you know, he perpetuates that he is a farm by advertising a farm on the truck that he hauls commercially with. It says Watkins Farm on the side of it. He's hauling down the highways commercially with this truck, and he has been doing so since 2024. And this is the second venture, the business venture that's going on out there. So, sorry, I get a little tongue twisted. So tonight I'm asking the board this evening to please not pass this major home-based commercial exemption. It will ruin any future possibility of having any more agritourism activities on the property like we used to once have, and that only a farm can provide. So, thank y'all.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come forward.
Good evening, Jeff Turner. I actually own the commercial property
just the east of this, across Highway 41. Just a coincidence, I'm here tonight. I was here for my application. I've learned a little bit about Mr. Watkins in the last year. Everything across the street is zoned heavy industrial. I have 6 acres. I run a manufacturing firm. There's another piece of land. I don't know all the situation with the neighbors. I know it's very touchy. I don't know any of those details. But I can speak on this. This is a major highway, state highway, tractor trailers. It's very common. I don't believe he has employees, but I can't see any of that from the road in my place. I can't see it. And you guys have seen me up here before talking about home-based businesses. So this is not quite like the last applicant, but you've got to consider everything. But from a neighbor across the street as a commercial highway, it doesn't impact me. It blends in very well. So.
Thank you. Anyone else come forward?
The applicant is, allow the applicant to speak.
You're the applicant.
If there was any questions that y'all wanted to ask after my neighbors have come forth with their stuff. Yes, there is a legal matter.
You may sit down, sir. We don't do it this way. Please sit down. We're open for a public hearing for the public to have a chance to say anything. Anyone else? Do you want the applicant back up? We'll close the public hearing. According to our staff, again, this does not meet all the general requirements for approval. So I'll add that on to it. Do you have a motion on this?
Mr. Chairman, with the staff comments and that it doesn't meet all the requirements for the home-based business, and there are resource stockpiles here, this operation is too large of an operation for a home-based business. It's not even probably qualified to be a commercial, more like an industrial operation. And it should be zoned as such for that. No direct street access, excessive burden on the neighbors with the dust and health and safety issues, and large trucks on the narrow road, or not even a road, narrow driveway. And as such, I move we deny.
Have a motion to be denied with all those general requirements. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a second. Let me just remind the general public, we've had several of these major home businesses concerning concrete operations, and these are in residential areas, and these are just really not a good place to do that. And folks and we want to see you be successful in your business, but we have requirements that we have to meet. And I would advise anyone, not just the ones here, if you have a major business concerning concrete and other things like this, you probably need to look at a different area besides where people live. We've got a motion, we've got a second. That's all I'm going to say. Call a roll, please.
Mike Curtis.
Yes.
Amber Brown.
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes.
Gary Farley.
Yes.
Renee Curtis. Patrick Hill.
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes. Is any other business?
No, sir.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.